Vincent Catanzaro, thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me. I know you took the assessment and you actually came out with two really strong behaviors: optimistic and passionate. The lead guitarist, two of the most fabulous, fabulous positive behavior traits. We look for this behavior. Their essential skills are task initiative, enthusiastic, authoritative. Authoritative does not mean being assertive. Authoritative in this is taking responsibility for decisions and owning them. And that's what I think is so important. So, and obviously desirable traits that we have in here are tempo, precise, and you manage stress well. So tell me just a little bit about yourself and what I love the guitar in the back, but tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Vincent Catanzaro. I am a partner in a boutique executive placement firm called Renee Vincent. I've been recruiting since 1993, so a long time in the business. And I'm a music enthusiast, and been married to my wife for almost 29 years now. We've been together like 34 years, and I have 6 children and 3 grandchildren.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations. I love that. Your side A, remember we talked about two sides of the record, side A being your resume building skills, negotiating, all of those things that you do in a corporate environment. Side A for the passionate behavior is results driven. Do you see yourself in that role? Do you see yourself doing that most every day?
Yeah, so for me, like I like to be the go-to person, right? So like I want to be the person that people turn to. There's like, I want the ball, right? Give me the ball, let me do it. I've got it, and let's go get some results. And so I see, myself as kind of at least wanting to be the person that people go to when they need to get something done.
Yeah, I can see that in you. And that's how we met each other, was through our love of music and getting things done. You know, the lead guitarist is another one of my favorite behaviors. And it's because having a passion for anything will drive you to succeed. Can passion, though, be for a specific role or a career be somewhat overcoming sometimes, meaning that sometimes we have to check our passion?
I don't know, right? So it may be, right? So if you're very passionate about something, I think there's a lot to do with cultural match, right? So if you're culturally matched to the organization that you're in, the passion would be embraced. I spend a lot of time talking to executives, and we'll have conversations about these types of things. And I'm the guy, right? Probably because of my profile, I'm the guy that's like lean into it, right? Lean into your strengths, lean into your passions, forget about the things that you're not good at, put that in the back burner and be the subject matter expert in your areas of where you're strong, the personality traits that are most comfortable for you, and operate in that zone, right?
Yeah.
So that you're operating in an area that you enjoy,
Yeah.
and so, but I can tell you personally, and I've the optimism, the desire to have fun at work, right? Those kind of things. If you're in an environment that's not healthy, that's not always liked, right? And healthy for one person could be different for another person. So that's where the cultural match is important, that you're in the right environment so that you can kind of be your authentic self.
Right. No, I agree 100%, because to me, being passionate, and I am also a lead guitarist, That is one because I'm very passionate about what I do. And I think that passion leads to success. So I would agree with you. And it's different for everybody. And finding the right culture for that is so important. As one of the essential traits in there, a couple of them, enthusiastic and takes initiatives. How do you use those traits to really drive results in a passionate behavior?
Well, so the takes initiative, I think that's one where I tend to get ahead of the pack, because as soon as I sense opportunity, I'm down the path, right? When people will be thinking about or planning or have, we people hear, people participate in the same conversations, but their perspective and what they hear are different. And I tend to hear uh opportunities and opportunities to act on things. And so I'm that person that as soon as there's an opportunity to add value, I'm I'm down I'm immediately down that path.
So as soon
Um,
as the door cracks open, you push it open.
I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah.
You give me a crack and I am right in. My parents would probably says, you give me an inch and I'm taking a mile, right? But
Right. All of those sayings that go back way back, but I would say that that is so so great. Um, so I have to ask, I'm asking everyone, what's your favorite song that motivates you, that gets you going? Because we all have a musical soundtrack.
yeah, and so it's really hard to pick a favorite song, right? And I probably would have some theme songs, but with, you had mentioned the guitar that's floating over my head right now, and on that guitar, it's written out to myself and one of my daughters, so it's to Juliet and Vincent, and it says "All for the Glory," and it's signed by Tommy Thayer. So this is Tommy Thayer custom Les Paul electric blue guitar, played on stage and then signed and autographed, and we picked it up backstage after the concert. And the song "All for the Glory" is it's like it's a motivational song, and
Yeah.
it's not like the individual "All for the Glory," but it's like all for one, all for the glory. And so in preparation of doing this conversation with you, and knowing that I had the "All for the Glory" Tommy Thayer guitar above my head, and and talking the lead guitarist profile, I cranked that song up and listened to it just prior to getting on the call.
And that's what we do. We do that just to get prepared for what's happening. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about being passionate? Maybe you have a story or a favorite band that you really, really like?
Yeah, so I think passion, sometimes, right? Passion could be misconstrued as obsession, right? And so for people who don't quite relate to that, maybe that passionate characteristic, they may not understand you. So I think I've been. I'll give you the careful part of it first, right? So
Yeah,
I've been referred to in business as kind of a bull in a china closet, right? Like, and not knowing so, or I've accidentally stepped on people's toes, not meaning to. And then because I'm a passionate and, caring person, then when I learn that I've accidentally, hurt someone's feelings, then I feel terrible, right? But
right.
in almost all cases, that's just my enthusiasm getting in front of me and not even realizing. And oftentimes when people will mention like, oh, like what you did yesterday, and I'll be like, well, like, what was it that I did? Because like nothing is coming to my mind that would have potentially been something that would be that case. But that's happened to me multiple times over the course of my long career at this point. And so it's something that I try to be cautious of, that I understand that I can, that my profile, my behavior, my enthusiasm and passion for moving fast and taking advantage of opportunities and jumping in and the desire to be someone that is adding value,
Yeah.
sometimes runs over people.
Hmm.
So I try to be cautious about that and sensitive to that. But on the flip side, people do point out to me that, man, your passion comes through, and that your desire to add value comes through. I had a customer telling me, like, I could just tell by talking to you that you're like dying to be a value added resource, right? And that you're looking for that. And that has grown into becoming now my best customer. And so so there's definitely two sides of your strengths and understanding your strengths, and then and how, depending upon the people you're working with, how that affects them. I mentioned the Kiss guitar above my head. I was always a kind of a Kiss Army guy, and I picked that up early. I'm the youngest of three children. And so, although I'm a kind of a product of 80s music, my brother and sister really introduced me to 70s rock and roll. And, that's, the early Kiss, the
Yeah.
original band were, kings of the 70s, and
Hmm.
became immensely popular. And I kind of picked that up from their influence. But then as I got older and I became someone that was success driven, motivated driven, wanting to excel, wanting to do good. The things that they would talk about in interviews about, we wanted to be the band that we wanted to go see, that doing the things that no one else was doing. We wanted to give more to the fans than they were expecting. And I think part of the longevity and the brand of Kiss, right, which will live beyond the members of Kiss, their brand value was about beating expectations. And so I definitely aligned to that, and I think that helped me align to the band, right? And, they're not
Right.
everyone's favorite band, and if you're younger, right, if you're kind of a product of the 90s, by the time you know at that point Kiss was in cartoons, and Kiss, it wasn't, they see Kiss as not a band that, a rock and roll band that came out of the streets of New York City. They see them more as, these rich guys making music, right?
Making
And so,
music with makeup on their faces.
you're right, yeah. So I guess it all depends upon their perspective, but I'm definitely I'm a passionate music fan. I am not a lead guitarist in real life, but I do love guitar, right? And I
Yeah.
love the sound of lead guitarist, and that's kind of that, hey, this is watch me shine kind of moment. And I think what really makes the difference is that there's plenty of virtuosos out there. I mean,
Hmm.
thousands and thousands and thousands of virtuosos, but it's the passion that they play with that separates them. The ones that really make it, the Jimi Hendrix, Van Halen's, Jimmy Page, these legendary guitarists, lead guitarists. It's not that other people can't play guitar as good as they can.
Exactly.
It's the passion that they play with.
It's the passion they play with. And you talked about both sides of the passion, which is really just a balance, right? Having that passion, being able to balance that. And that's why it's called side A and side B. But didn't Kiss have a side A record called Detroit Rock City?
Yeah, so they did. So they do have a side A, side B, good story. So Kiss, their fame came fast, right? But for them, I'm sure it seemed slow because they were spending so much money touring and putting on the show that they were losing just tons of money. And so they did a live album called Kiss Alive, which many people think is like one of the greatest live albums ever done. And that became their big hit. All of a sudden, that started selling and became a multi-platinum album, and then the other albums sold because of it. And then they followed it up with an album called Destroyer, and the big kind of driving tune, the first song on the album is a song called Detroit Rock City, which was the single they released. And then the drummer Peter Criss at the time brought a song to the band called Beth, which was a ballad written about his wife. And, like Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons were like, well, that's a throwaway song, right? And so they put it on side B of Detroit Rock City. And then all the DJs started flipping over I guess that was a 45, right? Started flipping
Yep.
over the 45 and started playing Beth, and Beth became a mega hit, People's Choice Award, Song of the Year, and the song definitely that people who know Kiss, especially if you know Kiss a little bit,
Right.
Beth, I Was Made for Loving You,
Yep.
Rock and Roll All Night, and kind of their hits that moved into pop culture, and that was definitely uh, a a pop hit, right?
Right.
Beyond a rock hit, right? Yes.
So that's what a 45 looks like for those who don't know. It was one song and one song. Side B was the throwaway.
I even had some 78s from back in the day.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I hadn't thought about 78s in a while.
Yeah, they were like the originals.
Yeah. Hey, Vincent, thank you so much. I am so glad that you were on this with me, and I appreciate you. And let's put our passions together and we'll go out there and do what we do best.
Thanks, Paula. It was such a pleasure to talk to you.
Yep. Thanks.